So yesterday we were learning about probable error. We were solving probable error problems. Just to revise, probable error is from this data, if I find or if I take out another sample to calculate correlation coefficient, then in such scenario, I will again get values between the probable error limits. Okay, so to repeat again, if from the same data, I take another sample, we saw one problem where in a school they had somewhere around 1,000 students. Out of that, sample one, which was taken as 100 students. Okay, now from this they calculated R. Okay, and then they calculated probable error. Now from the same 1,000 students, if I take another sample, that is sample 2 of, let's say for example 50 students, this 100 is separate, this 50 is separate, for suppose. Now again when I calculate R here, it should be between the limits of probable error only. Okay, it should be in the limits of probable error only. Now how do I find the limits of probable error? I will have to add R plus PE. Okay, this is on the positive side. This is one extreme. The other extreme will be R minus PE. Okay, so whatever R that I'm supposed to get here for second sample should be in between the numbers I get here. So that is known as probable error and the probable error limits. Now to go on further, we will be solving this full-fledged sum here, where you have to calculate correlation coefficient and probable error. Both will be involved. So you can expect such questions for 6 or 14 marks based on the quantity of data given. I hope that point was clear. So let's just read through the question first. The following data relates to the percentage of failures in 10th standard examination. Okay, so this data is given regarding percentage of failures. So age of the candidates and percentage of failures is given to us. So can we take this as X and this as Y? So one factor is X, that is age of candidates. The second factor is Y. Next, find whether there is any correlation between, so they have only asked very clearly, any correlation between age and failure in the examination, and interpret the results. So here we are supposed to interpret the result by finding probable error. It's not directly interpreting by correlation, but we have to interpret by finding probable error. Are you all clear with the question? Did you all understand the question, what we have to find? Okay. So let's continue to the solution. Now, solution part, the steps remains the same, like how we calculated for Carl Pearson's as usual. So let us continue. Here, X is the factor of age. Okay, this is age of students, which started from 13, 14 to 21. And Y is the percentage of failures. At the age of 13, there are 39 failures. Age of 14, there are 40 failures. Like this, Y is the failures count at that particular age. So our first important value to be calculated is sigma dx, and which is the next value, sigma dy, and then you have sigma dx square, sigma dy square, and sigma dx dy. Okay, so let's calculate each of them. First, going on to sigma dx. Here we are using assumed mean. Okay, we are not calculating x minus x bar, but it is x minus a, because it will save our time in calculation of x bar. Okay, next here it is y minus a. So x minus a, out of these values, 17 is considered as assumed mean. So dx is equal to x minus 17. Assumed mean is 17. So 13 minus 17 is minus 4, 14 minus 17 is minus 3, and so on. If you calculate, you will get the dx values. Now, once you add all the dx, you will be getting sigma dx. So that our first important value is calculated. Now, we have got 0 here because you have minus 1, 2, 3, 4 and plus 1, 2, 3, 4, which will nullify the whole of the numbers. Then going on to dy. Now here again we have taken assumed mean. Now assumed mean for y, that which is considered as 43. Okay, so 43 is the assumed mean. I have already told you can consider the central value or any value from this number. Okay, do not consider any other values out of the given x and y, because it will be confusing for you to calculate. It will be confusing for the examiner while evaluating your papers also. So just consider the one of the number whichever is given here, but make sure it is from x for dx and y for dy. Don't confuse that and interchange the places. Okay, so dy, y minus a, y minus 43. So again 43, so 39 minus 43 is minus 4, 40 minus 43 is minus 3, 43 minus 43 is 0, and so on. We have to calculate the value of dy. Now once you add all these values, you get minus 9. Now in minus 9, this is the second important value for us, right? Now after this, the next one is squaring of the deviations that we have already found. So the deviations which we have already found is dx. Now if I square this dx, which means if I square all this numbers, minus 4 square, minus 3 square, if I square all these numbers, I get dx square. Okay, so once I find all the dx square and I add all these numbers here, that will give me the next important value, that is sigma dx square. Next, the other deviation which I have here is dy. Now if I square all these numbers of dy, that is the deviations which I've taken from y, I get dy square. And if I add this column completely here, 16, 9, 0, 81, 49, I get the next important value, sigma dy square. Okay, and the last important value which is supposed to be calculated is multiplication of deviations. So multiplication of deviations is multiply this column. This is column number 1 and this is the next column. You're supposed to multiply these two columns to get the value of dx and dy. So minus 4 into minus 4 will give you plus 16. Minus 3 into minus 3 is 9. Minus 2 into 0 is 0. There again many students will make mistake in examination. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. Okay, don't go and write the value there. Plus 2 into 0 is 0. Minus 2 into 0 is 0. Don't go and write minus 2. Okay, please be careful in this value. Next, minus 1 into minus 9 is plus 9. Minus into minus is plus. So 9 ones are 9. Then 0 again. 0 into minus 7 is 0. So likewise, you have to calculate these dx into dy. Just add the deviations. Now once you once you add this column completely, you get the last important value, that is sigma dx dy, which is minus 88. So after calculating these values, now like how we solved in the previous problems of correlation coefficient, we will go on and apply the formula as usual and solve R. Okay, we have to calculate R like how we did for other problems. After that only we will be able to put those numbers, R numbers, and find out probable error. Okay. So any doubts in the table? Any doubts in the table calculation? Did you all understand? Okay, let's go to the formula now quickly. So the formula here, R is equal to n sigma dx dy minus sigma dx into sigma dy whole divided by square root of n into sigma dx square minus sigma dx whole square into square root of n into sigma dy square minus sigma dy whole square. Okay, So this formula, I hope everybody remembers. Okay, we have solved enough problems on this. Now, n, we forgot to see what are the number of data that we have got. So starting from, for both x and y, it is the same number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 numbers in total. So the value of n for us is equal to 9. Okay, so in the place of n, you will be considering 9. Next, sigma dx dy. So what are the important values here? Sigma dx dy is minus 88. Sigma dx is 0. Sigma dy is minus 9. Dx square is 60. Dy square is 293. So let's put all those numbers here. Sigma dx dy is 88 minus sigma dx is 0. Sigma dy is minus 9. Okay, that is what we have calculated here, minus 9. Then whole divided by square root of 9 into, so n is, value of n is 9 into sigma dx square is 60. Okay, sigma dx square is 60 minus sigma dx is 0 square. And then again square root of 9 into sigma dy square is 293 minus of minus 9 square. Sigma dy is minus 9 here. See, the same value is being taken. So be careful again, minus of minus 9 square. Then next step, 9 into 88 minus 0 into minus 9. So I already told anything multiplied with 0 is 0. So 9 into 88 will give you the value of 792. Then whole divided by 9 into 60 is 540. 0 square is 0 as usual. Then again for the other square root, 9 into 293 is 2000. Excuse me. So 9 into 293 is 2637. 9 square minus 9 square, that is nothing but minus 9 into minus 9. So minus into minus is plus. 9 into 9 is 81. But we have taken minus 81 because this minus is prevailing as it is. Okay, this only the minus inside the bracket is considered here, and the outside the bracket whatever minus was there, that remains. So that is why minus 81. Next, 792 divided by square root of 540. 540 minus 0 is 540 only. So square root of 540 is 23.238. And again, if you take the other number here, which is nothing but square root of 2637 minus 81, so which will give you a square root of 2556. Okay, if you calculate square root of this, then in that case you will get the total value. Okay, so square root of 2556 will give you 50.5569. Now the next the last step is 792 by multiply these two numbers, you get 1174.64, and the R value is 0.6741. Okay, now while we do such problems, usually we interpret using the R value. So we will interpret that first, and then again we will interpret using the probable error also. Okay, so now when you get the R value like this, okay, when you get the R value like this, so we are supposed to draw our bandwidth. Okay, so that will be +1, -1, and the central value is 0. Now, since this R is on a positive note or the positive value, so two major part, that is 0.25 and 0.75. Now, where does this number lies? In between which numbers can you say? Can you all reply in chat? Where does 0.6741 lie? Where should I consider them here? Which part should I consider? Should I put them from 0 to 0.25 or 0.25 to 0.75? Or to the last sector, 0.75 to +1? You people have to answer. The value should be considered between 0.25 to 0.75. Okay, so this is where the correlation of coefficient must be given. So this is where if R is present, it means it is moderate relationship. It is not too high. Too high will be this part. Okay, high will be this part, and too low will be the first part. So since it is in between, so this will be moderate level of correlation that is there. So the two values, that is the age and the failure students, number of failure students, have moderate degree of positive correlation. So that is moderate degree. See, the conclusion is given based on the correlation coefficient. Moderate degree positive correlation between age and percentage of failures of candidates. Okay, so any doubt until here? Did you all understand? Okay, let's continue. Now, after this, we are supposed to calculate probable error. Now, in probable error, the formula 0.6745, this is the constant value. Now, the constant value after that is the actual formula that is there. That is 1 minus r square by square root of n. Now, in this problem, the value of n is 9. And R, we just found out it to be 0.6741. So let's just see the previous slide, 0.6741. So we have got these values. Now, let us put these both of these values into the probable error formula. So the probable error is equal to 0.6745. 1 minus R is 0.41 square. Okay, R square. So whole square you have to do, divided by square root of 9. Then coming down for the next simplified steps, 0.6745 into 1 minus 0.6741 square. Okay, when you square this value, you will get 0.4545. Now square root of 9 is 3. Next, this calculation of 1 minus is being simplified. So 0.6745 into, this has a relationship of multiplication here, into 0.5455 divided by 3. Now the next step, I have divided this 2 first. So 0.5455 by 3 will give me 0.1818. Okay, these are, most of them are recurring decimals. Then when I multiply the final step, I get a probable error of 0.12265. Okay, now how do I interpret the results after calculating probable error? So we calculated correlation coefficient and we got one conclusion. So let's name it as conclusion number 1. Now, after calculating probable error also, we have to interpret the result. So this will be your conclusion number 2. Now, let us see how to interpret the results. Now, in interpretation of results, I'll just change the color here. So in interpretation of results, I have to make sure if the R value, okay, if the R value is more than R value less than. Okay, these are the two main criteria. Now, to what do we compare? Very easy. You have PE already? So PE value into 6. Multiply PE, that is 0.12265 into 6. So how much are we getting? 0.7359. So this is the value we get when we multiply probable error into 6. Now, what is our R value? R value is 0.6741. Now, R is more than PE or less than PE? Which number is greater? R is greater or PE is greater? Send your answers in chat. So the value of P is more, which means R value is less than 6p. So R value is less than 6p and R value is insignificant. Insignificant means it is not significant. So that is the actual interpretation that is supposed to come from probable error. So since, I'm repeating it again, since R value is less than 6pe, 6pe is nothing but 6 into p. So since it is less, it is not significant or it is insignificant. Both means the same. Okay, any doubt in this problem? Everybody understood? Okay, so this completes our Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient topic. Okay, now we will be going to a new topic, that is Pearsman rank correlation coefficient. Now, throughout the correlation, I told we'll be learning only two major correlation coefficient. One is the Carl Pearson's correlation coefficient that we just saw until now. Okay, the second one is Spearman rank correlation coefficient. So this is another person who has also given a correlation theory, and he has also given the formula to calculate correlation coefficient. So let us understand how to solve or what is Spearman rank correlation. So from the name you will be able to understand it will be ranking the data and then we will be calculating correlation. So that is why Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Then let's just read through once. In 1904, a British psychologist Charles Edwin Spearman developed a method to calculate coefficient of correlation between two sets of variables which are not quantifiable but ranked. Now, if you see Carl Pearson's, everywhere it is quantifiable. You will be able to calculate or count the number of data. Now, just the previous problem we saw, the correlation between the age and the number of failures, right? And correlation between the height and the weight, age and let's say their ranking, okay, or marks in subject. Okay, so all these are counted in numbers. So that is why we were able to apply Carl Pearson's correlation. But Spearman's correlation is where we will be taking two sets of variables which are not quantifiable. You cannot count them as numbers. So they will be, if you cannot count them as numbers, which means they are qualitative in nature. So it will be something like explanation, or it is something like a feeling. Can you count the number of feelings? It's not possible. So those are qualitative characteristics, but those can be ranked. Okay, you can rank them or you can prioritize them being 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is what is dealt under Spearman's rank correlation. Then, so this is done on the basis of some qualitative characteristics. That means this method measures the correlation coefficient between abstract characteristics like beauty, intelligence, singing, dancing, etc. Some, like the Miss India contest, Miss Universe contest. Now, how do they judge people there? Based on the beauty, they have a lot of criterias, right? Like beauty, how are they intelligent along with the beauty? They should have some talent. They should know certain information about their country, about the world, and all that. So such abstract characteristics are considered here, and they are ranked, and the correlation coefficient has been calculated. So you have a formula to calculate, which is R is equal to, now understand, for Karl Pearson's we were using small r. Okay, if you see small r in the questions, then it is Karl Pearson's correlation. But if you see capital R for correlation, then it is Spearman's rank correlation. So capital R is equal to 1 minus 6 sigma d square divided by n cube minus n. Now let us see what all is these notations. R is the rank correlation coefficient under Spearman. Then D, difference between ranks. So we are going to actually rank whatever is given to us. Then we will find the difference between ranks, and then n is equal to number of pairs of item. So how much data is given to us, that will be n. Now next part is interpretation. The value of R also ranges between +1 and -1. So the similarity, or the same quality between Karl Pearson and Spearman is the data will be between +1 and -1. Even in Karl Pearson also this was there. Even in Spearman also it is there. Okay, so next, in rank correlation, you will have 3 situations. So we will be learning 3 types of problems in this. Okay, so the first type will be when ranks are not given. They will not give the ranks. We should prioritize the ranks either in ascending or descending order, that we will be learning. And after that, we will calculate the correlation coefficient. Now, the second type is when the ranks are given. Directly, they will give us the rank. When they directly give the rank, just find the difference between the ranks and calculate the correlation coefficient. And the last scenario, when ranks are tied up, when you have 2 things put under first priority. Okay, in such type, you cannot consider 2 factors at one place. In those times, how do we use the different methods to take out the tie? Now in a quiz competition, if you have 2 teams, okay, if you have 2 teams winning first prize, okay, they've got first prize marks. Now there is a tie between the team, so we have maybe we will have one more round. Okay, maybe we will have one more round to take out this tie between 2 teams and decide who will come first and who will come second. Similarly, when ranks are tied up here, we will use certain different ways to solve them, and then calculate the correlation coefficient. Okay, so this is bare idea about Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Any doubts in this slide? Did you all understand the concept? So let's start with the first one. So the first one is first method. One second. So the first method is calculation of R when the ranks are not given. Okay, these first 2 methods are very easy for us to calculate. Okay, when ranks are given directly and when ranks are not given. So we'll just see how, when the ranks are not given, how we will be calculating. Okay, when actual data are given and rank correlation is to be computed, first we have to assign ranks to the given series individually. So they have given us, just take this example here only. We will be solving this later. Now here X and Y is given. Okay, and clearly it says calculate Spearman's coefficient of rank correlation. Or if the question says calculate rank correlation, then you will have to use the Spearman's coefficient. So first you will be taking these data and you will have to rank them individually, prioritize them individually. So how do we do that? Ranks can be assigned either in ascending order or descending order. Okay, ascending or descending order depending upon the magnitude of the given variables. Okay, depending on the magnitude we will have to rank them ascending or descending. Do not rearrange the data, you just have to rank the data however it is given. Suppose we are doing it in a descending order, which means we'll start from the highest number, which is 98. So 98 will be 1, 95 will be 2. You have any 90s? No. So 81 will be 3. Then after 81 you have 75. Then after 75 it is 61. 61. After 61 it is 59. Then 55. Then 58. So like this we are going to rank the data. Now after ranking the data, we will also rank the data for Y. Now once we rank both the data, we will have to, let's see what you have to do later. After assigning the ranks in respective series, D, the difference is to be calculated. So here also you will have ranks. This is just a random numbers I'm adding here. Okay, here also you'll have ranks, there also you'll have ranks. Now take the difference between these two and then apply the given formula. So this is very, very easy problem. This can be asked for 6 marks. Okay, so this is how you calculate when they have not given ranks. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. Tomorrow we will continue with the problems. Okay, any doubts? Any doubts until here quickly? Okay.